Now, Will knows a lot about the toxic substances that are released from tobacco when the tobacco is burned, and how they affect the overall functioning of the respiratory system. To complete the picture, we must examine how tobacco substances affect each part of the respiratory system. This will allow us to see the many harmful routes that the poisonous agents of tobacco take. Smoking causes damage to every part of the body that it comes in contact with. Here are some of the consequences and illnesses related to smoking. First, smokers must inhale the smoke and tobacco substances from cigarettes, pipes, and cigars through their mouths. This results in bad breath and yellow-brown teeth due to the tar. Because tar is also a carcinogen, a chemical known to cause cancer by messing up the cell cycle and cell division, tobacco users tend to develop mouth cancers. Smokers often exhale cigarette smoke through their nose. Secondhand smoke enters the body through the nose. This damages the cellular lining of our nose, which affects our sense of smell. Because flavors and tastes are largely influenced by our sense of smell through similar nerve networks, our sense of taste will become less acute, and it becomes harder to distinguish the taste of different foods. For example, when you have a cold and your nose is stuffed, food doesn't taste as good because you cannot smell it. From the mouth and the nose, we know that the inhaled smoke travels down the pharynx and the larynx before entering the trachea, also known as the windpipe. The burning smoke flows through the trachea, damaging the cilia inside. Cilia are small, delicate hair-like cells that line the windpipe. They help keep our lungs clean by sweeping out dust, dirt particles, and other foreign objects. When the smoke inhaled by a smoker passes through the windpipe, it is at a high temperature. The excessive heat burns the cilia, which reduces their cleaning and sweeping function. This allows substances from smoke to enter the windpipe and the lungs unhindered, causing irritation and damage. To try to clear out the disgusting and sticky materials, smokers tend to cough. The more gunk that is accumulated, the more irritation there is, and the more smokers must cough to expel the buildup of toxic substances. This eventually leads to a condition of chronic cough, which also becomes less effective with time. This forces the smoker to cough harder and harder, while symptoms continue to persist. Smoke, with its toxic particles and chemicals, ultimately ends up in the lungs after flowing through the guarded trachea. The smoke eventually reaches the small alveoli and hinder their ability for normal gas exchange with the surrounding capillaries. The substances from smoke, including tar, occupy the air sacs, which are normally occupied with air. The air capacity in the lungs is thus reduced. Therefore, smokers inhale less air, resulting in less oxygen with each breath than non-smokers. The longer and more frequently people smoke, the less lung space they have until they have no space for air at all. Lungs in smokers can appear black because of the accumulation of tar. Because tar is sticky, it makes it difficult for the lungs to effectively expand and force in more air. This results in less oxygen as well. Oxygen is used with glucose to produce energy in the form of ATP. With less oxygen, the cells have less energy to carry out the body's processes, and the smoker can feel tired and fatigued all of the time. The carbon monoxide present in smoke also reduces oxygen intake by effectively competing with oxygen on red blood cells. This leads to lower energy levels and decreased stamina. Less stamina means that people have less endurance, so they do not last as long when they do physical activity. That is why serious athletes who hope to perform well and at their best do not smoke. In addition, to get the oxygen they need, smokers need to breathe harder, and their hearts need to pump more blood. With time, the respiratory and cardiovascular systems can get overworked and tired, which results in a variety of respiratory and cardiovascular illnesses. These two systems are so intertwined that damage and failure in one leads to damage and failure in another. That is why it is important to take care of both systems to ensure a safe and healthy lifestyle. After all of this, Will now understands all of the facts related to smoking and tobacco use, and will apply wise choices when making decisions in the future. After all, it is his body and he needs to take care of it and protect it from harm.